Ohio State improves to 7-0 the season after a 34-0 shutout at Wisconsin. I'm Stephen Means, that's Stefan Krajisnik, and that is Andrew Gillis. As we do every single week, it's time to grade Julian Sand, who quite frankly might end up with the best composite grade of any quarterback we have ever graded in the 7 years I've been covering this college football team. Sayin 36 of 42 for 393 yards and 4 touchdowns. All 3 of those numbers are career highs. Stefan, why did he get an F from you?
Yeah, right. He got an A+. I mean, he was just brilliant today. He shot up the Heisman odds. He posted those numbers that you talked about. Like, this is kind of what it felt like Ohio State was building its offense toward, and pretty timely, is that a word? I don't know. Timely. Very timely to do it right before the bye week, right? Because you could put 42 passes on his plate this week, and it would kind of be the final test of, okay, you go into the last bye week, you see what you got, and you see how much you can trust Julian Sand going into the stretch November where you start with Penn State and you end with Michigan, right? And this is what it was kind of building toward, and he delivered. I mean, his accuracy is just, I wrote about it post-game, like, it's his best trait. It's his most useful weapon because he's got amazing receivers who get open a lot, and when they don't get open, he puts it in a spot where only they can catch it. We've talked about it on the pod, on our YouTube channel here. Like, he puts the ball in spots like the first touchdown to Carnell Tate, the second touchdown to Carnell Tate. Only Carnell Tate was going to be able to catch that. And you see that phrase used a lot, whether in college football or the NFL. And usually it's like an incompletion where it's like he put that in a spot where only Justin Jefferson was going to go up and get it, and you're not risking an interception. It's probably just going to fall incomplete. He's putting in a spot where only Carnell or JJ can catch it, but Carnell and JJ are the best receivers in college football, and they're going to catch it. And that's what makes this offense so scary. That accuracy paired with that receiver, or that talent at receiver, is virtually unstoppable, and Wisconsin learned the hard way. I just like that Ohio State has put more and more and more on Julian's plate, and we felt kind of weird after the Illinois game because it was like they just take a step back. Like Minnesota, they unloaded, and they kind of took a step back against Illinois. But then you saw it again against Wisconsin. It's just been building for this. The consistency from him is just elite. You knew the numbers were going to catch up eventually, right? I think after the Illinois game, the stats just weren't quite there for Heisman. Like, his odds lingered around like 6th or 7th, tied. He was basically tied with Jeremiah Smith. And I think it was the books and maybe voters looking at it being like, okay, someone from Ohio State's going to emerge. If this team's going to go undefeated, someone's going to emerge in the Heisman race. And Julian Sand, with this performance against Wisconsin, firmly put himself in that conversation. He's, as we're recording, 3rd in odds. He's behind Mendoza and Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson's playing right now, so by the time this video ends, who knows what's going to happen. Maybe Simpson's in first. Maybe Simpson's out of it, like Carson Beck fell out of it. We'll see. But this is the type of stuff that we knew Julian Sand was capable of. You pair that with what Ohio State has at receiver, it's scary what this passing attack can be. They finally flipped the switch. We talked about when are they going to flip the switch. They did it, and that's what it looks like, and that's terrifying.
Gillis, why did you give him an F on today?
Because we've reached a point where I can pretty accurately remember when we do these grading videos, all of his bad throws in the game. And there was one in the corner of the end zone where he underthrew JJ in a corner route, and like Jeremiah played really good defense, right? And he like reached over the defensive back and kind of like tipped the ball in the air, and it went out of bounds. And we all looked at each other and went, he's got to throw that a little bit longer. He's got to give his guy a little bit more of a shot. Good play by JJ. That could have been a pick otherwise. I think that was it. I think that was the only one that you're looking at going like, not a great throw, or Julian's got to read that better, or, you know, like everything that we see from Julian Sayin is really, really good, or the most minimal, hey, maybe he could do that a little better, but it probably worked out anyway. Like, there was that play. There was a play where I thought he needlessly stepped up in the pocket, and he didn't really need to do that. That's a coaching fix that Ryan Day will probably have with him. How could you not give him an A++ today? Like, how could you not talk about Julian Sayin in the way that we're doing right now? Because, again, this is one of those games where they took the leash off, and they said, go run in the field, and he did. And guys were open. He found him. He was hitting guys in stride. The Carnell touchdown where he like rolled out of the pocket, that was great pocket awareness. And he basically said, like, my guy's better than their two. I'm going to go let him make a play. And he recognized that it was Carnell. He recognized the route. Like Ryan Day was kind of going through it and how they hadn't run that play, and Carnell had not run that play from the slot since his freshman year. Like, it just so much works together with this passing attack right now to where everything that you see from Julian leads you to believe that he could very well win the Heisman Trophy, leads you to believe that he very well could be the best quarterback in the country. And every single week, we see a little bit more of it. We see, I think for the first 6 weeks, it was probably a frustrating amount that we had seen, where it's like, come on, just let us see it. Just let us see a little bit. Just let it uncork a little bit. And they really didn't do that. They have in recent weeks, at least a little bit. Today, they kind of let it fly, and you see the results. Julian Sand's awesome. A++.
I just want to say one thing. The underthrow to JJ, a bunch of us in the press box were joking where we were just like, that's unacceptable. That's just unacceptable. Like, even our nitpicking with Julian Sand is now a joke. That's how you know he's good.
I think Julian Sand's going to win the Heisman Trophy, and I'm going to tell a story about another quarterback here who used to wear number 10, who I think his case is going to be very similar to. Ohio State's so good that I don't think Julian Sand is going to have the opportunity to have that Heisman moment. That thing that they replay over on SportsCenter of, oh, wow, he spun out of this and he made this. It's not going to be that. I think it's going to be the cumulative effect of stats, what it looks like on a play-to-play basis, and you're going, there's nobody making throws like that, dude. And he plays for the best team in the country. And I don't think it devalues his Heisman Trophy case in comparison to anybody else who's won the Heisman Trophy. It's just a different type of year where I don't know if Julian has a do you remember when moment this year. But what he is going to have by the end of the year is narrative. And I think that was very important for Troy Smith. He had the narrative at the end of the year of, this has been the best team in the country all year. They were the number one preseason team, and they were number one all the way up till they lost to Florida in the national championship game. And the thing that did it was Michigan. Number one versus number two, the game of the century, 6 years into the new century. And the crazy thing is they've played as 11-0 and 11-0 two other times since then. But still, that's not what we're here to talk about today. But that's the thing that did it, and because the narrative was now there. What's Julian Sand's narrative about to be? It doesn't matter what Michigan's record is. They've lost 4 in a row, and he's going to be the quarterback, potentially, if they win that game, who kills that losing streak, who finally gets Ryan Day back on the winning side of that rivalry. And that's narrative, right? C.J. Stroud lost the Heisman twice because he lost to Michigan. Now, obviously, yes, Bryce Young played very well that day. Obviously, Caleb Williams did things that way. But going into the Michigan game 2 years in a row, C.J. Stroud was the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, and then they lost to Michigan, and it was over after that. I don't know if Julian Sand is 100% going to be the favorite going into November 29th because, as you mentioned, Ty Simpson, we'll see what he's doing the rest of the day. Fernando Mendoza, his Heisman Trophy regular season games are kind of behind him now with Illinois and Oregon. But what I do know is if he goes to Ann Arbor and does anything close to what he just did in Madison and they win that game, and then he gets on the field with Mendoza and wins that game.
Hang on. Diego Pavia did the Heisman post today in Nashville, so it might be over. Hey, Pavia might have won it, guys.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but seriously, it's he's not going to get the moments. But what he can get is I don't know. That would require this defense to give up more than 14 points. That's the problem here. Is like nobody can score in Ohio State's defense. But if he is playing for the most dominant team in the country, he's the quarterback, and he's no longer just the guy who's supposed to get Jeremiah Smith the ball. Because that's what was going to happen here. This was either going to work out like it did in 2023, where Marvin Harrison Jr. was the only thing on the offense they could count on because Emeka was hurt, Travion was hurt, and so it just went to Marvin. He got to New York. Or it was going to look like C.J. Stroud and Justin Fields, where, yeah, he's got all these weapons, but he is the engine. He is the thing that pushes it forward. And the more Carnell Tate gets involved, the more the running backs get involved, the more Max Clare gets involved. Brandon Ennis got in the end zone today. The more that leans towards Julian Sand, which is why you're right. They were so connected, and now they're not connected anymore. We've reached it here. I think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. They got to beat Michigan, but if this is where we're at now, and that doesn't mean 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, but if this is it, if the offense is finally unleashed, all he's got to do is into 4-game losing streak and win the Big Ten, and he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Good luck, Julian Sand. 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Ohio State 34-0. This is the 5th shutout in Ryan Day's career as the head coach. I'm Steven. That's Stefan. That's Andrew. And go listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you find podcasts. See you later.